just grab the clicker. Of course, we're here in the Innovation Summit celebrating 25 years of Gulfood. And actually, Gulfood has a huge role to play in the food security of the UAE today. So many years ago, our leadership, of course, they realized the UAE is a water-scarce country. We have less than 5% arable land. And with that, they said, let's put our efforts and our money into building the right infrastructure to make sure we bring food through trade into the UAE. And so now with over 200 nationalities living in the UAE, we have accessibility to safe, nutritious, sufficient food for everyone to lead an active and healthy lifestyle at all times. But now we're going into a new era. And so I start my presentation today with the definition of food security, which I just mentioned. So a country ensuring that their people have access to safe, nutritious, sufficient, and affordable food at all times. So that's the definition of food security. Why is food security now, why is it becoming a hot topic? People are talking about it. There are many reasons. The obvious, as well as Suzanne also made clear, is that we're heading towards a very high number of people. As population rises, food demand rises as well. And as food demand rises, but our planet Earth doesn't have more resources to give, we're gonna come into a food gap soon. What else? Climate change. We're all feeling it. On my summer holidays in Europe, usually the parks were green, but this year you can see a lot of yellow fields. So we're feeling it today. We're feeling the effects of climate change, and the growers are feeling it even more. Water depletion. To grow food, you need water. We're in a country that is water scarce, so we know very well what the issues are when you don't have enough water. And us, the way we consume and what we waste, has a huge impact on the food security file. Numbers show now that a third of food, at least a third of the food that's being produced globally goes to waste. And yet, there are over 800 million people that go to bed hungry every day. So at this time, there is enough food, but the distribution is not efficient. So, what systems do we have to disrupt? And I'm sure all of you have heard the term, we need to disrupt systems. There's two systems in our eyes that we need to disrupt. One is how we're producing food. This is where technology takes a great role. Second is how we're consuming food. What decisions we make at the supermarket, what decisions we make at home, how mothers are feeding their families. All this is also a system that we need to disrupt and really think about, because a healthy body or a healthy mind is a healthy body. So taking into consideration what we're feeding the next generation and what we're putting in the bin is also something in the domain of food security. So in 2017, I was appointed as the first Minister for Food Security. And His Highness, the Prime Minister, Vice President of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, told me three things. He said, Mariam, we need a plan, we need to adopt technology, and we need to advance R&D. So my team and I, many of you here today, got to work with our stakeholders, and we started with the plan, which is the strategy. Before starting with the plan, we needed to identify what is our food basket? What is the UAE consuming? Because we have over 200 nationalities, so everyone has their tastes and their cultures and what they like, so we needed to understand what is our food basket. So this is what we came up with. We did a kind of filtration on what we're consuming, what we can produce, and the nutritional value. So these are now the 18 main food items of the UAE. And we call them main food items because some of these are strategic food items. So with that, we said, what can we grow domestically that is commercially viable? Because in the UAE, we've grown everything. We've grown wheat, but when we grew wheat, the price was so expensive no one would buy it. So that was really important to understand what is commercially viable. So far, all vegetables, leafy greens, some fruits, also fish, goat cheese, goat's sheep, all those are now, we can say technology has proven that they're commercially viable. So this is the National Food Security Strategy. It has 5 strategic directions. One is all about agribusiness. You folks are here today at Gulfood to enhance agribusiness and ensure the food that flows through the UAE, that we're diversifying from where we're getting our foods from, and that we make sure that it's of the highest quality and standard. Second, it's about what technologies we can actually use to enhance domestic production. Third, reducing food loss and food waste, and this is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. We need to reach a 50% decrease by 2030. So we also have KPIs to lead to that as well, and we've given this its own strategic direction because of its importance. Fourth is, of course, food safety. The UAE imports currently about 90% of its food, and therefore food safety standards is of top priority, of course, for UAE-produced produce and also what we import. Improving nutritional intake also lies in that strategic direction. And this is where the government needs to ensure that we provide tools to the consumers to make better choices when it comes to nutrition. And I'll show some examples of what we've done on this. Enhancing capacity, or our capacity to basically be ready for any disruptions in the supply chain, is the 5th strategic direction. Of course, any strategy has enablers cutting across all the strategic directions. We need a good governance model to be able to implement the strategy. We need an R&D agenda about food security in the UAE. We need good data for any investor that wants to invest in anything to do across the food supply chain. They need sound data. Human capacity. We need to build the next generation. We need to give them the skills they need for what's coming. And then the food movement. This is all about us. This is all about changing habits, changing behavior. So this is not just about campaigns, but really it's a 10, 20-year plan in nudging the community to make better choices and help disrupting that consumption food system that I talked about. So adopting technology was the 2nd direction that His Highness gave me. What we did here, since when I started, of course I had about 5 people in the beginning, so it was very difficult to move things quickly, but I thought the best thing is to use the stakeholders. So we got the private sector together, and we said, what are the barriers that you have that you are not adopting technology as quickly as we'd like to see you? So they gave me a whole list. This was probably about 100 or more points. And they told me there are certain things we can't do because of, for example, when we want to set up a greenhouse to build, to grow tomatoes, we need 7 licenses. Or someone says, I have a closed system farm, but the local authorities doesn't have the standards for a closed system farm. So certain things we took on, and we said, fine, let's take this through the Government Accelerator Program, something that His Highness has offered to all of us, that we can use this as an accelerator to take problems and solve them within a very short period. So we had 100 days, we had over 50 stakeholders, and we gave ourselves the challenge of removing 7 of the 100 barriers, okay, at the 100 days. And with that, we worked hand in hand with the private sector to come up with 10 new initiatives, and we basically opened up a new economic sector for the UAE ag tech sector, okay? These are some of the examples. We now have a unified license for agriculture, whether it's aquaculture, livestock, horticulture, it all lies in the same. So now all the tasks or all the legal activities are all under one license. We also, now all the local authorities know about closed system farms, so they have all the standards. We now have also a database, a website that investors can go to and have all the data there. By the way, all this information is also on our website, accessible for everybody. And investment in agtech is what we're trying to push here. In the UAE, because of the water and arable land problems, we thought, and when you can focus on technology, this is where we could become pioneers in. So things like vertical farms, advanced robotics, aquaculture, RAS systems, these are the industries we're trying to push, and we're already seeing them today. So we already have 2 or 3 farms that are doing the high-end hydroponic systems in Abu Dhabi, RAS systems, so the aquaculture, there's already 3 or 4 companies using this. We're growing now salmon in the UAE, sea bass, sea bream, prawns, it's all been done using technology. So now we go to the third point that His Highness wanted me to focus on, which is advancing R&D. Just to show you the political will that the UAE is really pushing this agenda. Here are some of the announcements. So these announcements just happened in the last year or so. So Abu Dhabi rolls out 1 billion dirhams incentive scheme to support agri-tech companies. We want to see ag-tech happening here in the UAE. Many of you may know this, Emirates Airlines has joined with Crop One to build the largest vertical farm for its needs. Basically, Emirates Catering Group makes 250,000 meals a day, and so they have the certain perishable things such as leafy greens, tomatoes that they use on an everyday basis, and it's now commercially more viable for them to have their own farm than to buy from the market. And also, His Highness, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, also announced to invest 5.6 billion dirhams into R&D for water scarcity and food security. And also the new research authority, which was formed in Abu Dhabi. These are the areas they want to focus on, and you'll see food security is on the agenda as well. So, some of the initiatives that our office has been working on to help push this file is the Food Tech Challenge, which was announced in September. The awards ceremony is going to be in April. So with that, we basically wanted to engage the community and let them help us to find solutions to the food supply chain and looking more on the household and community level. Okay, this is also important because, as I said, this is not just a government role, it's also a role of communities and individuals. We all have a role to play in this. And so doing a challenge like this, we wanted to engage them, university students, entrepreneurs, to actually come and showcase their ideas. And there is a huge incentive behind it with a $1 million prize money in total. Okay. Now, I was telling you, Strategic Direction 4 was about giving the community tools to make better choices. So the nutrition labeling policy was approved by the cabinet and is going to be compulsory in January 2022. At the moment, it's on voluntary basis. And with this, I'm wanting to give the community a better tool to be able to make choices. So I'm not a nutritionist, but if I see something with 2 grams of salt or 5 grams of sugar, how do I know that this is okay, or this is too much or too little? So this, in a way, makes it easy for you to make that choice, because as a traffic light label, it will tell you whether it's in the green range, in the orange range, or in the red range. We also worked with the industry to make sure we bring ag tech. This always has a problem when I do this part. So we wanted to make sure with the university students that we're opening the door for them to understand what ag tech means today. And so again, I always have a problem with this slide. Let me get back again. So this was at the UAE University, and we did an open industry day. And with this, I brought the ag tech companies, and I let the students hear from the companies, so these were all UAE-based companies, what they're doing and what technology they're using. And the students also got a chance to ask questions, but also all the companies pledged that they would cater for the students to come to them and do some volunteer work with them. So hands-on work experience with those companies in, for example, the winter holidays or the spring holidays or summer holidays. So this was a great way to do the matchmaking, because a lot of the students were not aware of all the technologies that are advancing in the private sector. So this was part of the national capacity building efforts that we're doing. The nutritional guideline. We all need to know, there's so much information in the internet. We all want to know, what is okay for me to eat? What macronutrients should I be looking at? And our DNA is a little bit as well. So we developed with the Ministry of Health and Prevention the nutritional guideline for the UAE for people who live in this region, in this environment, and adapting to what can be grown here as well. So this is also something that we're very proud of. So the last 2 years have been hard work for us, but we still have a lot to do. But we're very happy to see that when we benchmark ourselves to other countries, this is the Global Food Security Index. We were in 2018 ranked 31, and at the end of last year, we're now ranked 21. So we jumped 10 steps towards number 1, which is our ultimate goal. And we hope by 2021, we'll be among the top 10 and reach number 1 before 2051. So this is our target. As you all know, His Highness always wants us to be competitive. We need to have a clear target where it is we're heading, and he always likes us to benchmark with other countries as well. One of the latest things that also was approved just in December was the Emirates Food Security Council, which I head. Remember I told you in the enabler, we need an effective governance model? Well, we were able to form this council, which is made up of 6 other ministry representatives and also 7 local authorities. So we have 7 emirates, so a representative from every emirate and also a youth representative on this council to basically give direction, strategic direction on all food affairs subjects in the UAE. So with that, we're able to really drive and implement the strategy. And with that, I will, who the members are, here we go. So we've got Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Climate Change, Energy and Industry, Health and Prevention, the National Emergency and Crisis, Ministry of Education, the 7 representatives, and youth as well. Okay? This was added in last minute because it was quite a new thing. So with that, thank you very much. I hope it was a useful insight for you to show you what we're doing, and we're very open to helping others in developing the food security file, because food security is not just a national responsibility. We all play a role, and it is also our role to be a player on the global scale, on the global food security agenda too, which the UAE is also trying to do. Thank you.
State for Food Security, Her Excellency Mariam bint Mohammed Saeed Hareb Al Mehairi. Thank you so much.